Is he turning around? We got some cops behind us. I don't know if they're here for us or somebody called them, but. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be giving my SURRON Light Bee-X some big power from Chai battery. I just got my GLADIATOR Touring Pulsar 72 volt battery from Chai. I actually had to get a special license just to import this thing, but it finally showed up and it came in this crazy packaging. And I just got it open and on the bench. And I absolutely cannot wait to put this thing on the bike and finally max out that BAC 8000. Now this battery has a peak discharge of 400 amps and a continuous of 200 amps. In comparison, this Chinese 72 volt battery that I got for this build has around a 200 amp peak and around 150 amp continuous output. So it's really a big difference on this Chai battery. And it came with this really beefy 7-gauge battery connector. Now I need to install this and attach these two wires to the controller and this one to the ignition. And it also came with this new battery tray, which apparently you have to put in or else the battery doesn't fit exactly right. So we're gonna put this on, put this new battery connector on, then I'm gonna put this battery in the bike and see what this thing can do. So I just realized that I don't need to completely drop this controller just yet. I can take this 10mm and I can actually remove the positive and negative battery cables without removing the controller itself. Yeah, now I can pull out the red battery lead over here, and I just need to disconnect the ground. The red and black cables are free, and I can pull them through on the other side. Now there's some zip ties in here, bundling the cables together. And also, don't forget to disconnect the stock ignition switch. So the last thing to do to get this cable with these battery connectors that it's attached to is to remove these 4 bolts and nuts that hold the breaker to the breaker plate. The breaker is free. So now that I have all the controller and battery wiring removed off the SURRON as well as the stock 100 amp breaker, I will get back to the wiring in a little bit. Now, I think is actually a great time to replace it with this Chai battery tray. The battery tray on the SURRON needs to be replaced so this Chai battery can actually fit properly. So we're gonna do that now. And there's a DC converter that's mounted via these 2 screws on the bottom. So we need to remove the screws holding on the stock battery tray. And then I'm going to remove this bash guard so I can get underneath. And then we'll reattach the DC converter to the bottom of the new Chai battery tray and then install it into the bike. And then I can get back to the wiring and the new breaker. Now here's that DC converter that needs to be removed. And it feels like there's a Phillips on each side. So I'm not going to disconnect it because we're going to put it right back. I just need to remove these 2 screws and then pull this battery tray out. Okay. So now the DC converters, I'll just leave it here, and now I can remove this battery tray. There's 2 screws over here that I guess seems like need to be removed as well. All right, there's the old battery tray. I will pre-thread this by screwing the screw in and then just removing it because I guess it's just a drilled hole. And then also the other thing you need to do with these screws is we need to actually cut them shorter. We need to cut like 2 threads off because they'll hit the battery. I saw it. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 millimeter off the end of that. Well, I gotta let them cool down a little bit. Let's put this converter back. All right, now I got the DC converter mounted to the battery plate, and I can screw this plate in. Yeah, that's it. I have the stock wiring off the bike now, and you can see these are the connectors that went down to the controller, and these two went into the breaker. This is the stock SURRON 100 amp breaker, and it just pulled these lugs out on each side. And then we have the stock SURRON battery connector, which is not good for that Chai battery because on a 400 amp plus discharge, I'm definitely gonna melt this connector. So I'm not gonna be using that anymore. Now what I did is I went ahead and upgraded the breaker. Now there's a lot of mixed information online about this. I couldn't really find a clear answer when I was looking around. This cable from Chai is meant to be a breaker delete, but I don't feel 100% comfortable removing the breaker completely from the bike. I'd rather just upgrade it to a higher power breaker. And also, I really want the ability to shut the power on and off when I'm working on it. This has the higher 250 amp rated breaker, and normally these things can go for around 3 to 4 times their peak rated limit for, you know, short bursts. And I think this will be okay, but we'll see. I also have these 300 amp breakers that I got, and we'll try those if this one isn't enough. I also see a lot of guys complaining about their stock breakers tripping all the time because they were using that stock cable harness with their new battery. And that's no good. I don't want the breaker shutting off right in the middle of a wheelie. Tighten these back down. Nice and tight. All right, now it flips on to the right, then off to the left, and I have the battery cable on the right side. These two are going to drop down and attach to the controller leads for the battery. This one is to attach to the ignition switch. And then I will leave the QS8 connector up here for the battery connection. And we're going to mount this breaker right here on the breaker plate where the old breaker was. I'm going to plug that first. And then I can drop these down. Let's just drop these down here for now. The breaker will reattach right in the same place that the stock breaker was at. I'll just get these nuts on. Probably it would be easier to just leave the breaker off, man. I would get a lot more space for these cables. And I think that's why a lot of guys remove it. I just like the idea of the safety of having the breaker there. Nice. Now the breaker's fully installed. Attach the positive lead to the controller, and I might be able to do this without dropping the actual controller. And then I can attach the negative battery lead down here. Lazy wind. Nice and tight. All right. Oh yeah, it fits. No problemo. So now I just need to tuck up these wires back up underneath there and then push this breaker plate back into place with these 2 bolts, and then I can reattach the controller. This should come down and then around like this. Yeah, that's better, like that. Okay, wow, everything fits. Cool. Wasn't that difficult, actually. Right about there is where it's going to mount. Please just line up. Oh, just lined up. Up here, we're just about set. I have everything tucked up underneath here. I got this here to connect to the battery. I got it flipping to the right. Now we got to push this controller back into place right here. Well, there we go. I've reconnected the cable to the controller. I have the QS8 connector here ready for the battery. Got the new 250 amp breaker installed. This thing is pretty much ready for the battery now. So the last thing to do is just reinstall the bash guard, drop this battery in, and see if it powers on. I just want to make sure the bike can actually power on. Let's get the new Chai battery in. This is the charging port. I'll pull that off for now. Ooh, nice fit. Nice fit. And I can just bring this underneath here, plug her right in. Yeah, the breaker's off. I plug it in. Now I just put this battery lid back in and it's pretty much done. Cool. Now I'm using a small piece of foam here to keep the battery in place underneath the lid because I have frame extenders on this bike and the stock height of this Chai battery is actually a lot shorter than this Chinese battery. So I actually now have a gap on top and I'm just gonna have this piece of foam there for now for the test ride. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'll figure out a better solution for this. So let's power it on. I got power. Let's power the bike up. Oh, EBMX. So far, so good, man. Put it on 2 and ooh, that feels torquey. I think we're good to go. So let's go out and test ride this thing at the Riverside. I cannot wait to ride it. So yeah, we got a really good day today. I saw it's blue sky, sunny. It's a perfect day to go ride. And we can take this place to this one hill that's really fun and can really see the power there with the wheelies. So let's go see what this baby's got. Battery looks sick. It's not that hard. This is one of the best spots over here where there's this big hill and super fun to wheelie up and down. Going around a turn and down the hill and going up the hill and around the turn of the Is he turning around? We got some cops behind us. I don't know if they're here for us or somebody called them, but. What do you think of the bike, man?
Sick. Yeah, you got the power.
Yeah, dude, I got the power now. I can just flip the throttle and it's right back up. Any speed. It's way better, man. I highly recommend one of these Chai batteries for your SURRON or your E-Ride Pro if you really want to max out the power. The power to weight ratio on this bike is absolutely sick right now. I can throttle it and just get it to pop up at almost any speed. I haven't seen a speed where it won't pop up yet, dude. And if you want more range, you're gonna get a taller version. I got the stock size because I just didn't want such a tall battery. And when we go out and ride here on the Riverside at lunchtime,
We usually only ride for about 45 minutes to like an hour and a half max. I've yet to even see the meter for the charge on this thing go down during one of our rides. So I was planning to get maybe a KO or a Torp, or I saw this really nice EBMX. Definitely gonna upgrade the motor, but I wanna see what the limit is first with this battery. I'm pretty sure I can burn it out if I really ride it hard. I hope you guys dug the battery install. The bike is sick now. I'm definitely gonna get one for my eRide Pro to wake that thing up with that EBMX controller. So see you guys in the next one. Peace.